Thank you for coming out in the rain. 2 months ago, my friend James Butler called me. James is a former Navy SEAL and bomb disposal expert. Tall, good-looking guy, covered in tattoos. He left the military, and his new passion was helping other people to find their missions in life and helping them go live that. So James called me and said, you know, Mark, I run and gun so fast, I'm so maniacally focused on what I have to do that I don't tell the people in my life how much I love them. So I'm calling to tell you that you're a mentor for me, that you are a role model, and that when I grow up, I want to be like you. And you know, being an older guy, it really felt good for a young buck like that to call me and tell me those kinds of things. It was a beautiful conversation. A month later, James FaceTimes me, and he says, I really need to talk to you. He says, Leanne and I have decided to get married, and because of who you are for us, and because of who you are in the world, we would like you to officiate the wedding. Now, I loved his fiancée, Leanne, loved James, I loved them together. It was a very easy yes for me. A week later, I'm on a Zoom call with Leanne, and we're planning love and partnership and the future and what the wedding is going to look like. It was beautiful. Fast forward another week, and James and Leanne are going to fly to Thailand to work with a client on, what do you think? Their mission and vision in life. They do things in a big way. That Monday, I go down to Virginia Tech with my son because he's looking at colleges, and of course, I forgot underwear. So I had to run out early in the morning to Target to get some underwear. And as I'm in the parking lot, I get a text from Leanne. Mark, I don't know how to tell you this. James died this morning. Seems he had an aneurysm while they were in the pool. And he died instantly at the age of 29. That was 3 weeks ago. Why am I sharing this story with you? Because in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be talking about things like time management, to-do lists, your attention, your focus. And I want you to pay attention, because what I'm really talking about is something very, very precious. Your life. So I come from the world of high-tech sales. I'm now a author, a speaker, and a leadership coach. But in my previous life, I sold multi-million-dollar complex sales to Fortune 500 companies, and I worked with executives in those companies who were running as fast as anybody could run, running and gunning and putting out fires in every direction, and then trying to find time to lead their organizations and find vision and find paths forward. It's no wonder that when I left to become a coach, my first 6 clients came from that world. And every single one of them, when we started our conversation, at some point in the conversation would say to me, you know, Mark, if I could just get organized, if I could just find the right time management system, then I would be able to get to ... Usually what I was working with them was getting out of the tactical and up to the strategic. And they thought getting organized and the right time management system would get them there. I don't know about you, how many of you have a to-do list and you look at it at the end of the day and you know you worked your butt off all day and you only see 2 things off the list? Where'd the day go? My aha moment came a couple of years ago when I was working with my coach. I have severe A.D.D. and I took Ritalin to be able to focus on things. So I was taking my Ritalin, I focused down my projects to just 5 projects. And I thought I did really well to get myself going in the direction that I want to go. And I couldn't make headway on any of these projects. I couldn't get anywhere with them. So on my call with my coach, I said, you know, the ADD is kicking my butt. I can't seem to get anything done. I don't know what is wrong with me. And my coach said, you know, Mark, what I know about you is when you're committed to something, when you really want to do something, nothing ever stops you. He says, what if you used your distraction? What if you used the energy and your attention as a compass instead of a problem? That was easy. My kids wouldn't eat. I'd be homeless. Netflix would be my preference for the day. But that got me thinking. Back in 2009, I separated from my wife, and that was a really tough time for my family and me. And I was really depressed, very depressed. And I got very, very sick. My career was going down the toilet. I couldn't sell anything. And I thought I was going to die. I was pretty sure I was going to die. I was that bad off. And I made a decision that if I'm going to die, I really need to leave $1 million for my kids and my ex-wife. I wanted to give $60,000 to charity because I wanted some sort of legacy. And then I had this crazy idea that I wanted to run the Marine Corps Marathon. Couldn't run a mile, but I wanted to run the Marine Corps Marathon because I wanted to show my kids what you do when adversity hits you. That was going to be my legacy. That year, I had 3 goals. That year, I made the $1 million. I gave the $60,000 to charity. And I ran the Marine Corps Marathon an hour faster than even my coach thought I'd be able to do it. In fact, I had a picture of a sonic blue Lexus convertible above my computer. 2 weeks later, my kids and I were driving home in that convertible with the top down. So the thought that I can't get things done was a lie. The truth is, if I really want to get something done, I will get it done. And that was my aha, that it's not about managing time, it's not about getting organized, it's about getting honest with myself. What do I really want to do? What don't I really want to do? So this had me look at my projects that I had on the table. I looked at the 5 projects, and I rated them on a scale of 1 to 10. 3 of the projects were clearly a 10. One of them was writing my book, but were clearly a 10. 2 of them, if I really was honest, they were kind of 8s, maybe 9s. And the truth was, what was really a 10 for me was the people who I was going to do the projects with. So now, faced with the knowledge that I didn't really want to do the 2 things that I wasn't doing anyway, even though they were on my list to do, I had to have the shaky conversation with each one of those people. So I called them. And I said, you know, the project's not a 10 for me. It's an 8, maybe a 9. I said, so I'd like to talk to you about how can we make these a 10 for me and you, and if not, I'd like to back out. The funny thing was, I was terrified to make these conversations, and they both said, it's not a 10 for us either. Off my plate. All 3 of the other projects got done, and got done on time. Now it's time to go look at my to-do list. Because every day, my to-do list is just vexing to me. And I started to notice that everything on my to-do list had a qualifier, had a hidden motivation. Each thing on my to-do list it wasn't the thing itself, it was what was behind it, the reason it was on the list. So if I looked at the first thing, it was only on the list because I was afraid to set a boundary and tell someone, no, I don't have time to do that and I don't want to do it. Second thing on my list was something that seemed like a really good idea that I should do, but I didn't really want to do it. Now I know why it's not getting done. Third thing on my list was on my list the week before, the week before, the week before. It was just a good idea that I just kept pushing forward. And what I realized is that this list was camouflage to the couple of things that really needed to get done or that I wanted to get done. When I cleared everything off the list and I started to experiment with, I'm not going to do anything that I don't want to do. Sounds petulant, but for a guy like me who is earnest and wants to be all things to all people, this was a worthwhile experiment. So everything had to fight to get on my list. What I noticed is when things tried to get on my list, I had to look at them to see if I wanted to do them. Or did they need to be done? Did they need to be done by me and did they need to be done by me now? What could be delegated? What was going to take a difficult conversation to set a boundary, to rearrange an agreement, to say no? And what I found is when there was only 1, 2, or 3 things on my list each day that I promised myself I would do and that I really wanted to do or had a reward or consequence that I was either going after or wanted to avoid, things started getting done and started getting done faster. What I realized, I started getting lighter and I started getting more motivated. I started looking forward to things. It was really kind of fun. And that was the start of moving into the book, Only Tens. I started to do Only Tens. Now, of course, there's going to be things on some days that you don't want to do. What do you do with those? Paying bills. I don't like paying bills. But at the end of the month, the late charges are going to accrue. I don't want late charges. So now my 10 is avoiding the late charges. But here's the rub. I'm a choice. I'm not a victim. I'm not trapped by these things that I don't want to do. We're always a choice with what's on our list and what's being called for. But there'll be some months when I'm so busy that maybe I'll incur the late charges. Or I don't know how many of you have Jewish mothers. I have a Jewish mother, elder Jewish mother. She called me and she had a list of errands for me. And then again, I realized I had a choice. I decided I wasn't going to do most of the things on the list. Yes, another difficult conversation. But a 10 for me is being a good son, being a stand-up guy. So I looked for the things on the list that I thought were really important to my mother and would be useful, and I did those with a much better attitude. And my mother is very resourceful. She got the other things done anyway. So I am maniacally focused on helping you focus your attention on the things that are important to you. That's what I spend my mission on. James and Leanne dedicated their lives to helping people find out what's important to them. I'm dedicated to helping people find out what's important to them. Now, sometimes things stack up and life gets really busy. There's another choice. You can rev it up to a frantic pace and try and get all these things done and do them really badly, or you can get quiet. I slow down and figure out what's the most important thing to do right now. Sometimes it's not readily available. Then what I realize, I clean off my desk, I get my journal out, I meditate, because the most important thing to do right now is to figure out what the most important thing to do right now is, not rev it up. Overwhelm is a choice. So before I get off the stage, what I'm going to ask of you is that you think of one thing this week, just one thing that you could do that will change your life, that will make the biggest impact. More importantly, I'd like you to think of one thing you're not going to do. And then, what is the difficult conversation that you're going to have to have? What negotiation are you going to have? How honest are you going to be with this? I thank you, and I love you, and I wish you a deliberately created life.